Most men miss the moment she starts slipping away, not because she hides it, but because they're not paying attention to what silence really means. This video will open your eyes to the hidden signs she's already moving on and how to rise stronger from it. Comment where you're watching from and hit subscribe to never miss a lesson in female psychology and true confidence. It always starts subtly, not with her walking away, but with her slowly withdrawing from the connection that once felt alive. When a woman begins to move on, she doesn't announce it. She detaches emotionally long before she creates any physical distance. You'll notice it not in what she says, but in what she stops saying. She stops asking where you've been. She stops checking in. She stops reacting to things that used to trigger her. And the silence that once felt peaceful now feels heavy, because it's no longer filled with love, it's filled with absence. You see, when a woman still cares, even her anger has warmth. Frustration means she's still emotionally invested. But when she starts responding with indifference, when your mistakes don't hurt her anymore, that's the clearest sign her heart has already started to move on. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it's protection. It's her subconscious way of creating distance so she can prepare herself for life without you. She's not punishing you, she's preserving herself. Psychologically, this stage is critical. Women by nature are emotionally intuitive and deeply attuned to connection. When that connection starts to feel unsafe or unrewarding, the brain begins to protect itself from further emotional pain. The nervous system learns to detach, to stop seeking validation from someone who no longer provides it. That's why you might see her become calm when you expect chaos. She's not calm because everything's okay. She's calm because she's already accepted that it isn't. What many men misunderstand is that emotional detachment doesn't happen overnight. It's built slowly through repeated moments of disappointment, neglect, or misunderstanding. Every ignored text, every dismissed emotion, every half-hearted apology creates a layer between her and you. Eventually, those layers become walls, and by the time you notice the distance, she's already learned to find comfort in her own company. Philosophically, detachment is a form of evolution. It's not an act of cruelty, but of clarity. She's realizing that love isn't supposed to drain her, it's supposed to expand her. When she starts choosing silence over arguments, solitude over confusion, it's not because she doesn't feel, it's because she finally values her peace more than the pain of holding on. And that shift, though invisible, is irreversible. Once a woman learns she can survive without your presence, she begins to crave her own independence more than your attention. This is why emotional distance always precedes physical distance. Before she stops calling, she's already stopped hoping. Before she leaves, she's already let go internally. You'll sense it in the way she looks at you. Not with anger, but with acceptance. And that's the most painful part, because acceptance doesn't invite change, it ends the conversation. But here's the truth that too many men ignore. Her detachment is feedback, not rejection. It's a mirror reflecting what's been missing: communication, emotional safety, reciprocity. It's not your downfall, it's your opportunity to awaken. Instead of chasing her attention, ask yourself why she felt the need to withdraw. Instead of reacting to her silence, listen to what it's teaching you about your own emotional patterns. Because when a woman pulls away, it's not the end of a relationship. It's the start of a lesson. And if you have the courage to face it, to look honestly at how you show up in love, you'll grow stronger, wiser, more grounded. You'll stop repeating cycles and start building connections that are based on emotional maturity, not fear. So if you notice her becoming distant, don't panic. Don't beg. Don't perform. Just pause and reflect. Understand that she's already begun her journey inward, and it's your turn to do the same. Remember this: a woman's silence doesn't mean she's gone cold. It means she's healing. And when she starts healing, you can either evolve with her or watch her walk towards someone who already has. You'll know she's already halfway gone when her energy starts to shift, when the way she looks at you, listens to you, or reacts to you begins to feel different. It's subtle at first, almost invisible. She doesn't necessarily become cold or cruel. She just starts to notice things she once overlooked. Suddenly, your words don't land the same. Your efforts don't move her the way they used to, and small gestures that once made her smile now barely register. That's when comparison begins to take root, not because she's already found someone else, but because her mind is beginning to imagine what more might feel like. Psychologically, when a woman's emotional needs aren't met, her attention naturally shifts toward possibility, not necessarily another man at first, but another feeling. She starts comparing her current emotional experience with what she wishes she felt more seen, more heard, more alive. It's not about physical attraction at this stage, it's about emotional fulfillment. She's subconsciously asking, why do I feel so unseen when I'm still here? That question marks the beginning of her emotional exit. And this shift doesn't happen because she's disloyal, it happens because she's human. Women are wired for emotional connection. When that connection breaks, their psyche instinctively searches for it elsewhere. It could be in her work, her hobbies, her friendships, or yes, eventually another man. You might notice her becoming more critical, more withdrawn, or strangely indifferent. The reason: her emotional energy is no longer rooted in repairing the relationship. It's drifting toward replacing what's missing. Philosophically, comparison is the mind's way of seeking alignment. When we feel disconnected, we start measuring what is against what could be. It's not betrayal, it's awakening. She's not necessarily comparing you to someone specific. She's comparing the version of herself in this relationship to the version she could become outside it. When her soul starts to crave freedom, it's not always because she wants another person. Sometimes it's because she wants herself back. That's the deeper truth men often overlook. When a woman starts comparing, it's not just about you, it's about her rediscovering her worth. She's starting to remember what it feels like to be appreciated without having to fight for it. That's why her tone changes, why her patience fades, why she stops trying to explain how she feels. She's no longer looking for validation from you. She's preparing to validate herself. The danger for men is misunderstanding this shift. Many react to it with panic. They start chasing, pleasing, overcompensating. But that only pushes her further away because it confirms her suspicion that you're responding to fear, not love. What she really wants isn't more attention, it's deeper connection. She wants presence, not performance. So if you start to feel that emotional distance, if you sense her energy moving from connection to comparison, the answer isn't to fight for control. It's to slow down, become self-aware, and start showing up with real intention. Ask yourself, have you stopped listening? Have you started assuming? Have you taken her presence for granted? Because women don't drift without reason. They drift when they spent too long feeling unseen. You can't fix comparison with words. You fix it with emotional consistency, with action that restores trust, with presence that makes her feel safe again, not just loved, but understood. When she realizes that you can meet her with that level of emotional maturity, the need to look elsewhere disappears. Because what every woman truly wants isn't someone new, it's someone renewed. And that's the lesson most men miss. When her energy starts shifting, it's not the end, it's a signal, a call to grow, to listen, to evolve into the kind of man who doesn't just keep her attention, but continually earns it. Remember this: when her focus turns outward, it's not because she's lost interest, it's because she's lost connection. Don't chase her, reconnect with yourself, because when you rise into your best self, she'll either rediscover you, or you'll finally discover your own worth. When a woman starts to move on, one of the clearest signs is that she begins reclaiming her independence, not out of rebellion, but out of rediscovery. You'll notice it when she stops depending on you for emotional reassurance, when she becomes more protective of her time, more focused on her goals, and less available for the small habits that once defined your connection. It's not that she's suddenly too busy, it's that she's finally learning to prioritize herself again. That shift, though quiet, is powerful. Because when a woman starts choosing herself over the relationship, it means she's already rewritten the emotional contract that once tied her to you. At first, it might look like she's just trying to distract herself, spending more time with friends, exploring new interests, or pouring her energy into her work. But underneath it all, she's not running away from you, she's running back to herself. Psychologically, this stage marks a transition from attachment to autonomy. She's realizing that her happiness can no longer be outsourced. And the same love she once gave so freely to the relationship, she's now redirecting toward her own healing and growth. For many men, this phase is confusing and even painful. They mistake her independence for indifference. They think she's being cold, distant, or trying to prove something. But what's really happening is deeper. She's rebalancing her emotional energy. She's rebuilding the parts of herself that were lost in the effort to keep things together. When a woman has been emotionally stretched thin for too long, she eventually reaches a point where nurturing herself becomes non-negotiable. And in that moment, her independence becomes both a shield and a statement. Philosophically, this is where transformation begins, not just for her, but for you too. Because when someone starts to grow beyond you, you have two choices. You can try to pull them back, or you can start growing alongside them. Most men, unfortunately, choose the first option. They react with control, fear, or guilt tripping, believing that her reclaiming independence means she's rejecting them. But in truth, her independence is an invitation. It's a chance for you to meet her at the same level of self-awareness she's discovering. When a woman begins this process, you'll notice a lightness in her energy. She no longer needs to explain what she wants. She simply acts on it. She stops waiting for you to change because she's realized she can change her own life instead. And that's the moment she becomes truly attractive again, not just to others, but to herself. You see, self-respect is magnetic. When a woman begins operating from that place of clarity, she radiates confidence and the world notices. The painful truth is that by the time she reaches this stage, she's already emotionally accepted that the version of the relationship she once loved no longer exists. She's not angry anymore, she's awake. And once a woman awakens to her own worth, there's very little you can say to pull her back into old patterns. Words don't work anymore because her growth has moved beyond promises. It now demands proof. But this doesn't have to be a story of loss. It can be a turning point. If you can observe her reclaiming her independence without reacting in fear, you'll begin to understand the deeper lesson: independence isn't a threat. It's the foundation of real love. A relationship that requires someone to lose themselves isn't love, it's dependency. And when both people can stand strong individually, they can finally choose each other freely, not out of need, but out of genuine connection. So if you see her pulling back, don't chase, reflect. Don't try to reattach her to you. Rise to meet her where she's going. Let her growth mirror back to you the areas you've neglected within yourself. Because sometimes the best way to win her back isn't to fight for her. It's to find yourself again. Remember this: when a woman starts choosing herself, it's not the end of love. It's the beginning of truth. And the man wise enough to honor that truth will either grow beside her or grow because of her.